Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nosheen Jaffar. I am a PhD scholar at Lincoln University College, Malaysia. I am doing my PhD thesis under the supervision of Dr. Lubna Ali Muhammad, Associate Professor, Faculty of Social Sciences and Arts. This article is also part of my PhD research thesis, and the topic of my article is post-colonial localization of Shakespeare in Indian cinema. So I'm going to start my presentation. The contents of presentation are introduction, problem statement, objective of the study, significance of the study, literature review, research methodology, results, discussion, and finally, the conclusion. This article deals in the introduction. We will discuss that the article deals with the reception of Shakespeare and his influence in India, especially taking into account the statistic that India was a former British colony, and also how the genealogy of Shakespearean reception has evolved over a period of time. A comparison with some previous productions like Shakespeare Wala, which was released immediately after the end of British Raj, is made to see that how films were made at that time and how Shakespeare and his work were portrayed in that time period. The imperialistic undertones and the change of this concept over time are focused in this research. Shakespeare has been part of subcontinent history in three ways: literary, performative, and cultural. Our familiarity with Shakespearean texts is triggered in early years when abridged versions of his texts were part of the curriculum. This familiarity is augmented with the frequent references of Shakespearean pithy and witty lines in our daily life. Then theatrical performances further embedded Shakespeare in our consciousness. But every interaction of ours has a different association, and this association is evolving over time. Problem statement. According to Trivedi, Shakespearean films in Indian cinemas and the Indian Shakespeare film, on the whole, have virtually remained areas of darkness in critical discourse. Though there is a current boom in writings about Bollywood and Indian cinema in general, catalyzed by film studies in South Asian departments, there is yet no extended study of the Indian Shakespeare film. Shakespeare on film and media is one of the fastest growing and challenging subfields in Shakespeare studies. Interest in the range of the international Shakespeare film has been slow to take off. The purpose is to not only trace Shakespearean influence in Indian cinema, but also to analyze the interplay of the aesthetic, historical, socio-political, and theoretical contexts in which Indian language films have turned to Shakespeare and to what purpose they have done so. The discussion extends from the content of the plays to the modes of their cinematic and intermedial translations. Objectives of the study. Journal objective. This study aims to examine the appropriation of Shakespeare in Indian cinema. It focuses on how Shakespearean plays Macbeth, Othello, and Hamlet have been converted into Indian films Maqbool, Omkara, and Heather, respectively, and the subsequent adaptation with modification. Specific objectives: to evaluate Shakespearean dramas adapted in the Indian film industry, especially by the renowned filmmaker Vishal Bhardwaj. Second one, to analyze the processes involved in transforming a text into film. To highlight the molding of a piece of literature dislocated in time and place and its relocation in a different culture. To discover the challenges involved in transforming a text into a film and to relocate the new cultural context in which this transformation is carried out. Significance of the study. This research is a fruitful addition in field of drama and cinema. It would be helpful for the students and the researchers who will select study of film, drama, and the adaptation of plays on screen. The study's findings are important for film critics and film studies, especially screen adaptations of Shakespeare in world cinema. This study will also facilitate future researchers in the cross-cultural adaptation and post-colonial studies. Literature review. Literature review consists of different critics who have contributed to the research existing on Shakespeare films, and it consists of different critics from all over the world that like Jackson, Neogi, Williamson, Kidney, and some others like Mendes and Sen. Research methodology. The research is a qualitative research. The exploratory domain involves analytical research where on the basis of previous existing knowledge and data information has been collected, and through existing theories and researches, new deductions are formulated. The content source for the research material has been library material, internet data, which includes books, magazines, abstract journals, dissertations, audio visuals, and some interviews as well. The results and discussion of this thesis or this research is appropriation is a field utilized in the medium of art. Artists have used it perpetually to mold, modify, adapt, resituate, revision an already existing work and relocate it in their own context. Shakespeare activation in an Indian society is a conversion of his Englishness and also of his written text. There is an echo of Shakespearean presence for his readers through direct translation of lines, where it is not overshadowed by overdoing him as mirror mimicry of the stage productions. Appropriation of Shakespeare in India takes place through the change of locale, dialect, localization, folk assemblage, local traditional practices, and various customs. The reframing of Shakespearean setting is indigenized in the liminal locales of India. The variegated presence of Indian soil in Omkara, Makbul, and Heather is synergetic and warm. The dusty, primitive landscape of Uttar Pradesh and enclosures of Mumbai and Makbul, Omkara, and Heather, respectively, are reflective of the stratified presence of different cultural spaces that exist in India. The multiple ethnicities that exist in the stratified society of India and their respective narratives are injected through these films using Shakespearean conflation. It brings out the dynamics and power relation of two powers and how the unequal relation gets subdued with the passage of time and new narrative structure of power and its deployment come in force. Conclusion. This research brings out the dynamics and power relations of two powers and how the unequal relation gets subdued with the passage of time and new narrative structure of power and its deployment come in force. The discursive of Indian, Western, original adaptation, global, local, center, periphery are exponential of the relative position of binaries and their shifting proximity. There are many references used for this research. It ranges from various critics and journals. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.